we got my man Rise King. He's releasing his book, as you can see. That's a book is sci-fi star. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Rise.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. My name is Rise King. I graduated from the UCLA Film School, and then I went to the New School for my master's degree. This is my first project since graduating. And what I wanted to do with the book was I wanted to create a black or Afrofuturist version of the hero's journey. Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey talks about how these different figures, whether it's Jesus, Hercules, or even the moral heroes of today like Thor, they represent something inside of ourselves. It's really ourselves that have to evolve into a heroic form of ourselves. And these stories and myths give us the sort of blueprint for the obstacles we'll have to overcome. So I wanted to create something relevant for today that wasn't just entertainment, because we have real issues and real struggles today. Racism, climate change, capitalism is out of control. We're very, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. I think we have to be real heroes. Somebody's got to be a real hero. And if we have an entertainment that is inspiring us to do that, like the cultures of old had. They didn't just have some culture that it was about escapism and it was just, oh, this is fun, but it means nothing. Their stories around the fire, their celebrations, their ceremonies were all about your culture and how you're going to become more like this. And so I felt if I can create some story, some saga, some journey that is as fun as Harry Potter, fun as Lord of the Rings, fun as the Star Wars, but actually gives what the ancients were telling us to do to increase our joy, our happiness, our courage, our strength, that somebody could get some value out of it. Even if they wouldn't use it like the regular escapism, subconsciously, or somebody else will see what I'm trying to say. Like, hey, it's up to you to be the hero, not just some fairy tale people of screenwriters. So that's kind of what I've been doing with the book.
Okay, all right. How long did it take you to write this?
Yeah, brother. Man, it took 12 years. 12. This is the 13th year. Funny because I really believe in the 13 a lot. I'm I think my book is creating like the 13th tribe of the world, where it's like it's the occult and the spiritual tribe of all the major traditions. I'm trying to syncretically bring together everything, something that people from all different traditions can get something from and feel like I'm a part of this too. And they just to start up, and then you're like, you know what, I'm a part of this, let me go forward with it, because I like that I get to connect with everything in this little journey. So that's kind of, I think it's not a coincidence. It's a synchronicity that it took 13 years because I'm a 13th tribe.
Nice. And 13 Zodiac too, right?
Yes, that's right. 13 Zodiac, Ophiuchus, like yourself. I feel like, in the age of Aquarius, we're going to realize how important that Ophiuchus is. It's if you go back to Asclepius, the guy in Greek who was the head of medicine, his sign was the caduceus, which is what we now use in the medical tradition. That staff with the serpents intertwined over it and the wings at top. That goes all the way back to Egypt. It's the Kundalini in the Hindu tradition, but people don't know even that goes back to Egypt. When you had the Pharaoh with the Uraeus serpent on his forehead and his pineal gland, that represented that his pineal gland was activated. He was a Uraeus, he was a cobra, he was the shining one that he could look at you in his shining eyes and not blink, just like with a cobra when he rises up at you. He just stared at you, and it's like an intimidation factor, mad dogging. Some people call it in the hood, But that's when you get to your crown chakra level,
Mm-hmm.
you're not scared to look people in the eyes, and some people might get intimidated from you, you know, from your kingliness.
Right.
And that's what the Kundalini shine and the caduceus of the medicals structure is representing is like the activation of the Ida and Pingala up your spine, getting you up to your pineal, and now you got wings and that aura around your head.
Mm-hmm.
It's all spiritual symbolism
Right.
that I try to, like, I don't want to say update, but I want to give to today's audiences in a way that is an introduction for them that they can slowly get deeper into.
Yeah.
It doesn't scare them away.
Yeah. That's powerful. That's powerful.
Thank you.
So, with this powerful message you come up with, did this just happen overnight? Did you just one day wake up and was like, I'm gonna write a powerful message to my community? Or did this happen over time, or did something happen for you to realize this is what I want to do? Because 13 years is a commitment, man. That's impressive.
Yeah, yeah, man. That's a great question, man. Because something did happen to me to where I realized I could dedicate my life purpose as an artist to this, and I could give different variations to it. But I saw that this was something important. Right after grad school in New York City, I was getting out of grad school and I wanted to open my own video production company.
Yeah.
A video camera, some audio equipment, and help small businesses get commercials for their website, and maybe even one day commercials for the TV as well.
Right.
You know, if they got big enough and they wanted to pay for a commercial for TV. But anyway, I wanted to help. A lot of my friends in New York City were entrepreneurs, hustlers. I wanted to make sure that on their website they had a commercial, some video type thing.
Right.
So that's what I had planned. I had a friend from UCLA, my undergraduate program, who was selling some equipment, and he was selling it for $5,000. So I'm literally right out of grad school. I don't really know what I'm doing in life, but I know I want to be in video, I want to be in art, etc. I'm like, okay, let me make my own video production company, buy his equipment, and then start my company. Chase Bank claimed that they were going to give me $5,000 on I guess it's a credit card or loan, etc. This was my first time dealing with banks out of school.
Right.
You know, it was grad school, but I had never dealt with any kind of banks at that point. So thinking that they were going to give me $5,000, I waited 3 months. I didn't look for another job. I had to tell my landlord, hey, because I couldn't pay for my half of rent. I had two other roommates, and I told my landlord, hey, I'm waiting for this money. I have a great plan for business. Just hold off. So he's like, all right, I'll wait. So I am not looking for a job. I'm in my last dollars waiting for this. I've told my friend, please hold equipment for me. 3 months later, they come back and only give me $500.
Oh, man, 10%.
I couldn't pay rent with that. I couldn't. I barely could even eat for the month with $500 because it was very. It was a. I guess you can call it an emotional breakdown or a crisis point in my life where I was extraordinarily distraught. I broke down in tears. I had no idea what to do. I had a book. This is New York City. So at New York's at Times Square, there's these guys. They do it in Denver too. The Hare Krishnas. And what they do is they stand at public places. They sing songs, the chants to Hare Krishna. And if you talk to them, give them a donation, they'll give you a book about Hare Krishna. It's the Hinduism, and Krishna is like the Jesus Christ of Hinduism. Certain brands of Hinduism. He's like the avatar of God. He's like God on earth. So these Hare Krishnas, they sing, they're chanting, and they also, like I said, they give books. I got one of the books from them. It was like a really big book because I gave them like a $10 donation. And at the back I just happened to pick up that book when I was crying, just looking for any kind of positivity, because I was extraordinarily depressed. I looked it up. I looked into it. I started reading about Krishna and like how he was born, and it was just like these fun, mythical, epic stories about something that's also spiritual. And it didn't take more than like 10 minutes of reading to where I felt completely better. Like my life being completely, at the end of in my brain, it went out the window immediately with just like 2 or 3 pages of reading about this fantastic character Krishna being born, and he's the avatar of God. And because I had lost my spirituality at that point, having learned about the history of the Christian church, Constantine, the Council of Nicaea, the Inquisition, what they did to slaves to indoctrinate them into servitude. Was giving them this Bible and a certain version of it. So I was very atheist at that point. But getting just that spiritual from the complete tradition I didn't know, and I didn't really believe, obviously, but it was just some sort of inspiration to hear about this hero and about this goodness coming to earth to free the world. And that inspired me in a way that I hadn't been inspired for a long time from Christianity, but also even from movies, because I was studying screenwriting and filmmaking at UCLA. So you kind of get a little bit jaded to films. You're very judgmental. You're not really enjoying it like you used to. But when I read those stories about Krishna, instantly I felt joy, I felt hope, I felt inspiration. So at the back of the book, they had the information of a temple there in Brooklyn. And so I just called up the temple and I was like, hey, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to pay rent. Do you guys allow people to live there if they join your belief? They was like, yeah, maybe, but how about you just come down and, check it out, see if you like it, and So I went there the next day, and it happened to be the birthday of Krishna. So it was basically like their Christmas. It was like a very big celebration. They had food, they had like different plays going on, people dressed up like Krishna, and I don't know if you know about Hinduism, but very fun and chanting and musical. It's very nice. It just inspired me so much that from that point on, I knew something with spirituality is what I wanted to bring to the world. At the new school in UCLA, I had been studying how to make revolutionary art that's going to change, society, government, etc. And what I found was the only way you can change the government or the world is you change the people themselves.
Right.
An internal consciousness change. And if you don't do that, you're just forcing them. You're just another group of people forcing them or tricking them into do something.
True.
And then they're gonna sabotage you later because they don't actually believe what you're talking about. So for me, once I found the spirituality of a completely different tradition, and there was one more thing. It was Joseph Campbell's The Power of Myth television series where he was interviewed by Bill Moores. And it was a 6-hour PBS special where Joseph Campbell went into how myth and spirituality is a pedagogical teaching tool. It's really about teaching us how to be better people. And there's all these fantastic stories of heroes and adventures, but really what they're saying is our own growth from not knowing who we really are, not knowing who our purpose really is, letting the world dictate what we're supposed to be, and then finally getting to that internal moment where our purpose is given to us, our mission is given to us, just like the hero, and he has to set out on that mission to become who the hero is supposed to be, and get the gold of the reward. But really, the reward for us as humans is our own joy and our own fulfillment of knowing that we did what we were supposed to do on this earth. So when I got that Hinduism, this completely different tradition, but it gave me inspiration out of my depression, plus that power of the myth. Outside of all traditions, is just there's something that connects all of them that allows us to have this power and inspiration. I knew putting those two together, the hero myth with some sort of form of spirituality, would create the internal revolution that I, as a progressive person, am looking to create in the audience, because I think the world does need help.
Right,
I think
very
it's up to
true.
us.
Very true. I like that. I like that a lot. I like how you take an ancient civilization, the wisdom from there, and to increase the imagination of today's society. It's nice. I like that you put that together.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, any other special things that you want to give about the book?
Well, the book is available at rosstarride.com. I'm going to be releasing it on Ramadan 2023 because that is a day that's very much about community, very much about what I call mysticism, not me, but mysticism is about bringing the Holy Spirit or the God into yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And once you realize that the God that's judging you and the God that's making you who you want is inside of you, you don't need priests and you don't need all the external things. It's about your internal spirituality and your internal, if you're advancing closer to the Almighty or not. So I think Ramadan is a holiday where it's about community, but also about getting in touch with the spiritual inside of yourself.
Right.
So I'll be releasing it 3/22/23, rosstarride.com, RASTARI.com. But like I said, it's basically, I call it the Afrofuturist hero's journey.
Nice.
So it's the Afrofuturist Lord of the Rings, it's the Afrofuturist Harry Potter, it's the Afrofuturist, name your favorite fantasy. But Afrofuturism for me is taking exactly what you said, taking that wisdom of the ancients and applying it in a way that moves us towards the best possible future. Afrofuture.
Right. Right. I like that.
And but by the way, I'd love to let the audience know how we met and what you're into and what all the great things you're into, because you are a very powerful brother yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We kind of met about what was this? It was a psychedelic conference down in Denver. We clicked on psychedelics and the integration of psychedelics into your lifestyle. And kind of like you said, just, realizing from the inside that there's healing that needs to be done, and then working your way without. And then started developing some ideas on community work. We went to open up a nonprofit to help Black and brown people get access and awareness of what the medicine does for them. Yeah, man, it's been wonderful working with Roz. He's a good teammate, good partner, good friend. And so, we're still building. We just got selected for UBR program for Black business owners. We're trying to make a change in this, the conscience of the people. One brother at a time, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That's a little bit about me.
Appreciate it, brother.
No problem at all.
Any questions in the audience?
Can you give us maybe like one concept that people can apply today in their life that you put into the book, as far as self-development, finding true self, etc.?
Yes, I appreciate that. So my book, one of the things I try to do in the book is I try to give the most essential points to, let's say, spiritual development, the starting of your spiritual development, meaning like what it means to think about compassion and what compassion does for you. As a spiritual concept, it opens your heart up, and this opening up your heart outside of your own ego is touching into your psychic awareness, because it's when you're egotistical, you're kind of closed off. You're not really listening to your intuition and these things. But when you open up your heart and you're compassionate and empathetic, psychic ability starts to awaken. And it's not until you get to the fourth chakra that of the heart that where psychic life or spiritual life really begins. So I think, I mean, if you check out the book, you'll see that I'm really trying to show you how these, moralistic sort of concepts, how they actually relate to your personal development of your soul, and also, if you don't care about none of that, the development of your own psychic abilities and your own, because we all have been born with special abilities, but the society has told us to ignore them, to deaden them, and it's just like if you don't ride a bike long enough, or maybe if you never learn how to ride a bike, you won't have that skill. Even though anybody can ride a bike, you just take, it's easy. But if it's like you didn't develop the skill, you didn't try, and now you're scared to do it as an old person. Or swimming, for instance, like people that's like 40 that's trying to learn to swim, this is like a fear in them. But when they were born as babies, they could breathe on the water automatically, right? And they had to forget how to do these automatic things that they were born with. So the one thing I'd say to take away from the book is that developing of your own personal spiritual life, your own meditation life, compassion and gratitude, it helps with your joy, but it also helps with you in your personal life of accomplishing whatever it is you want to accomplish. Whether it's you want to be better at your job, you want to make more money, you want to be a better dad, a better mom. Developing your spiritual life is going to help with that. And hopefully my book helps you get the first steps of, something cool, fun, but if you take it seriously, even just a little, it'll help you develop the spiritual life.
Nice, nice, nice.